So, ladies and gentlemen, just as we dived into the weekend, we got amazing news for two companies. Okay, it's one, but it's somehow it's very very important, guys. Okay, so two events. This is what I meant to say. So I'm just here still figuring out all the links to show you today, because there's literally a lot of information that we need to digest. Okay, first of all, let me know in the chat where you are watching from, and I put obviously my Space early investor t-shirt on to celebrate that we are still early, guys. Okay, I just watched a very interesting movie called I think Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. It's about, you know, science fiction and you know, space and alien invasion. It's quite interesting what the future has to offer, and you know, how we deal with it, right? So you can be here with us and seeing the future unfold, you know, in front of your eyes with Virgin Galactic. Okay, but let's welcome a couple of guys here in the chat already. We have people from let me see, let me scroll because there are so many. So we have Texas, Denmark, Italy, Seattle, Afghanistan, Hungary, Poland, Punani Island, Latvia, we have Louisiana, we have St. Petersburg, Russia, we have US, Maryland, we have Romania, we have Waikiki in Hawaii, we have Kiev, Maryland, Scotland, we have Greece, California, Riyadh, Nevada, Latvia, workplace, wherever this is, Russia, Maryland, Lithuania, Finland, Houston, Turkey, Dubai, and Vatican City. I doubt, but let's put it this way. We have Maryland, Rochester, New York. We have Cyprus and Mars, obviously. Someone from Disneyland is joining soon to UK as well. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Let's dive directly in. Once we finish yesterday live stream, there was something that you know, catch not only my eye, but I got hundreds and hundreds of messages. Obviously, like always, I love you, community, guys. I love you out there. If I could give you a thumb up, I would do it right now, but unfortunately you have to do it for me. So bang that like up button, okay, the thumbs up button. This would be highly appreciated. And follow me also on Instagram, okay, Wolf of Dubai Danny. Very important to follow me there on every single step I take on the investment world, okay. When looking into Virgin Galactic today, we need to look in a couple of things, because it's not so easy to understand, because it's about SPAC warrants, okay? And let's have a look first what Virgin Galactic actually announced yesterday evening, okay? After the market closed, they actually did something that was the following. So this is the website of Virgin Galactic, and we go here to investor relations, investor informations. Then we go to, gosh, where is it? I think it's under news, and then we have here Virgin Galactic schedule. And the fun thing about that is, guys, I got so many messages, and some people are really, you know, doing the old school approach. And let me show to you full screen. So I'll just increase that a little bit so we can read it properly. So, some people actually printed this and marked the words and the things that are important and send it to me as a tweet. So I like this kind of, dedication to the stock market. So what happened? So Virgin Galactic basically changed the issuing of the earnings date. Instead of the 4th, which would be now, I think it was on Tuesday, will be now moved to the 10th. And this is because an accounting rule change for SPAC companies. And as you know, Virgin Galactic is a SPAC company. It was actually the first SPAC company of Shamas, APOA. And they changed something that, they have to rework all the accounting, guys. And mainly all the SPACs are made or supported by 2 accounting firms only, so you can imagine how much time this takes. And that's why they are moving from the 4th to the 10th, the earnings date. So it's not like significant changes. They said it already in the PR already, but it's still important. Okay, so let's dive in, because there's a very crucial information in this PR. So Virgin Galactic reschedules first quarter 2021 financial results and conference call in response to recent SEC guidance relating to warrants issued by SPACs. Okay, so the first part is all about that they will change it to Monday, because of the reporting and so on and so forth. They have to, review the SEC statement. Solely, and this is important, solely to the accounting treatment for the warrants of Social Capital Hedosphere Holdings Corporation. Okay, so this is important, that this is just because of that. Yeah, the company does not anticipate that the restatement will impact its previous communicated non-GAAP financial metrics, including adjusted EBITDA and free cash flow. Okay, so not big changes financially. Now, as of today, approximately 2.7 million warrants, and we will dive into this warrants thing, remain outstanding, which represent less than 10% of the warrants originally issued, as previously communicating. And this is great, okay? This is, I think, the most important sentence in the whole press release, and shows us that May flight is confirmed, guys. Okay, as previously communicated, Virgin Galactic is targeting its next rocket-powered space flight from Spaceport America to take place in May. All right, so this May we are having the test flight. That's point number 1. All right, very, very important, very, very positive. Okay, as expected, no further delay as of now. Okay, so they are restating that there was interviews with the CEO Michael Koglaser at, I think, Yahoo or CNBC, and he restated this again. May we are targeting the test flight. Okay, very, very important. Then this is basically the end. Okay, so if you now want to know what's that warrants, okay, what's that warrants? So there's actually interesting explanation video by, I think it was Meet Kevin. Okay, Meet Kevin. Here we go. I want to watch this together with you, and it starts here. And if anything will be, let's say, not clear, I will explain later on. Okay, so here we go. Let's make this big.
It's going to be very similar. A warrant is just like a call option. The difference is a call option is a contract that maybe you and I make over, let's say, Tesla shares or Apple shares or whatever. A warrant is actually a contract between you and, in the example company we're going to use, we're going to go with CCIV. That's the potential Lucid merger or SPAC merger. So if CCIV says, hey, we're going to issue warrants, then all that means is they're giving somebody the right to buy shares in Lucid at some point in the future after the merger closes. So as long as the merger happens, these warrants have value, which is good. But if the merger does not close, then the warrants go to zero. They become worthless because you're not going to get shares in Lucid anymore. So the warrants disappear. They become worthless. If you just buy the shares, well, you still have shares of CCIV. And maybe CCIV goes and ends up buying, I don't know, DirecTV. And they end up making DirecTV public via SPAC, right? That's possible as well. So right now we do expect CCIV and the Lucid partnership to happen, that merger to happen. And this is why when expectations align and we think that something's definitely going to happen, you tend to see that warrants get priced pretty close to the actual shares once you figure in the extra cost of warrants. So here's what I mean. Let's say that right now, a warrant for CCIV, kind of like a call option for CCIV Lucid, is $8.35. But that warrant says if you want to exercise it, you owe the company an additional $11.50. Okay, so this is kind of the market price of the warrant. So this is the market price of the warrant. This right here is the extra premium that you have to pay to exercise this warrant. And if you add this together, you get to $19.85. Which, what's really crazy about this, and it shows you how certain people are that the merger is going to happen with CCIV and Lucid. You'll see right here that the close price, right here, the C, the closing price is $19.84. So you could buy a share of CCIV for $19.84, or you could buy the warrant for $8.35. So you're within a few pennies of the warrants versus the shares. They're basically expecting there not to be a warrant risk anymore. The only time the warrants have a risk factor is when we're not sure that the deal is actually going to come together. Okay, so now you know a little bit what warrants are. They're basically options that the company gives people to be able to buy more shares in the future. Sometimes they're really mispriced because there's risk of the deal not happening. For example, if you could get these warrants for $4.35, it would mean you'd have a right to buy CCIV shares or Lucid shares in the future after the merger for $15.85. Why would there be a $4 discount there? Well, maybe because there's a risk of the deal not happening. That's usually when you see a big spread in the warrants and share price. Okay, so now we understand somewhat how warrants work from our perspective. But what about from the company perspective? Well, so here's how a warrant works from the company perspective. CCIV says, hey, we're going to issue 23 million warrants. And we're going to issue these, and the first thing we're going to charge people is $1. And then they'll go out in the market. So we're going to raise $23 million by issuing 23 million warrants. And then in the future, we're going to be able to get 23 million times $11.50. That's how much money we're going to be able to get in the future when people actually exercise their warrants. So 23 million, 1, 2, 3, times $11.50 gets us to a money raise of $264,500,000. Nice, sweet. That's a lot of extra money for Lucid. But wait a second. What if the share price of Lucid is $30? Well, wait a minute. We could just literally go $30 and issue 23 million new shares if we wanted to. And then we would get $690 million if we sold 23 million shares at market price of $30. So you'd actually be able to raise much more money if you just did an at-the-money offering. But now you're giving people a big discount via warrants. Now it's a nice way to build in an extra $264 million. It's a little bit above the pipe price, but it gives up that market potential. And if the market's way hotter, well, wait a minute. Even though you're getting that 264.5, you're leaving a bunch of money on the table. So is this a liability for the company or is it an asset? Well, you could look at it as maybe a $264.5 million asset because they're getting that cash, but they're losing a potential, in this case, $400 million in market value that they're leaving on the table because they gave these options. That's the nature of options. If things go really well, the person writing the option loses money. That's their risk. And so all of that explanation goes to, so are these warrants assets or liabilities? And right now, the SEC is investigating, do we declare these assets or liabilities? And in addition to that, while we're looking at SPACs, wait a minute. SPACs are a little complicated because people put together these crazy projections on these investor presentations that make their company look like they're the best thing in the world. Wait a minute. Maybe people shouldn't be able to make those kind of crazy projections. And if they are able to make those crazy projections, isn't that potentially misleading to the consumer? And so guess what's happening at the SEC? Well, two things. One, the SEC is really slowing down on the processing of SPACs right now. So new SPACs have really slowed down. In the last 6 months, we had about 5 SPACs a day. In the last 2 months, we've had about a SPAC a day. It's crazy how much it's slowed down. And guess what happens on Monday? On Monday, we get a new SEC chairperson who's super...
All right, guys, I think you get the idea where we are seeing, this potential asset when the companies are pricing that in current state, or a liability. So the SEC decided, okay, it need to be as a liability, so they need to reprice this warrants and so on and so forth, and that's why it takes a little bit time. Nothing bad in the perspective of the company, and especially in Virgin Galactic, because they need to reprice the stock price or anything else. Now I see a couple of questions in the chat already. But before that, I want to go into something else, because there is just as of this moment, just before I start this live stream, another breaking news, guys. Okay, and for that, I want to go with you to my Wolf of Dubai Danny, to my Instagram. Okay, Wolf of Dubai Danny is my Instagram, and here I'm posting a couple of things when I'm going out or doing things in Dubai. So if you're interested, then make sure to follow me here. But I posted something which is the following, and this would be this one. Okay, so you can see here this tweet came by Michael Sheets, who is the correspondent person into space for CNBC, and he just wrote, senior White House officials just spoke to reporters about the National Space Council, which will continue with Vice President Kamala Harris as chair, and outlined why this administration sees space as a more important priority than ever before. So translated, this means that the US government will even more invest into space, not only by time, but putting the vice president on it, and also, working very, very hard to bring companies, specifically private companies, into space. Okay, this is ridiculous. This is great. Okay, the second message or tweet here by Michael was, White House officials said VP Harris intends to put her personal stamp on the NSC, with one of her top priorities expected to be how commercial activity, including Egypt companies, continue to sustainably develop the space economy. Okay, so US want to really, really go high into space industry, and this is fantastic. And now to conclude this, and before we going into the chat, I want to just make sure, guys, this all news is obviously very positive for space, okay? Because first we have the test flight basically confirmed, or another affirmation that it will happen into May, as per their news release that we discussed in the beginning of this video. And now we also have the space news that will just increase the growth of the space company and the space economy, So you can expect that this stock will definitely, raise a little bit. I expect, a high one-digit number, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%. Let's see. But we are just days away from the test flight. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Okay, we need to wait a little bit longer for the earnings, but I think that now I thought they will discuss the new flight in the earnings on the 4th of May. Now they will do that on the 10th of May. So I think if in between they decide, oh no, now we have the flight window, now we will announce it, they will do it anyway. They will not wait just specifically for the 10th of May. So, this is what's happening, okay? Now, let's have a look into the chat if we're having some questions here. And then we can a little bit talk. Okay, so what do you think, Wolf? How much will affect the share price on Monday? We just discussed that. How do you think it will impact the price on Monday? We discussed that. Everybody is asking about the share price. So yeah, there's Oscar Sandoval said, I want to buy merchandise. Yes, soon, guys. Not I definitely one of my to-do lists, but not like the highest priority, okay? Then Nick Lopez is asking, what are the chances of a successful test flight in your opinion? 75%, 95%, 98%? I mean, it's very hard to say. In the end of the day, it's stay space flight, and there's always the risk. But I definitely, thinking between 75 and 95, something like that. Okay, I mean, they prepared now. They did it twice already. So if it's really one problem that they talked about and they fixed it over the last couple of months, guys, they're working on months on it, then then I think there's a good chance that they pull it through this time, okay, which will be a banger, guys. Okay, what do you think is the price in 5 years? Well, it's very hard to say how the price could evolve. So that's why I don't want to say anything, but it could be anything from 100 to 200, depending on the growth of Virgin Galactic. Obviously, it's really interesting, definitely. So what else? Petrut Stoika is asking the following question. I think it's a very well question. So what is something that will change your view on the company in a bad way? Like, what can change your opinion from a fundamental point of view? I said it many times that, if something fundamental changes, I will, move on. All right. And for me, fundamentally speaking, this business is a tourism company. They're in the hardware business, building an experience, having years of demand of clients, have a great branding, and flying people into space this year for commercial purposes. So the only way that this changes would be either an unidentified, not dated move of the whole business, and they say, from now on we concentrate on the point-to-point travel, or they would say, we don't do this anymore, we do something else. This would be fundamental, right? I mean, I'm there because the company has so much clients, so much profit margin on each flight, unbelievable team behind it, and so unique from a product wise that I just love it, okay? And if this doesn't change, then I will hodl forever. I wish I could, okay? So I think, I hope you liked it, okay? I wish you a fantastic Saturday. Have the best weekend that you ever had. And tomorrow we come back with some Tesla Sundays and more. So thank you very much for tuning in, and stay tuned to subscribe, like, follow me on Instagram, and I see you tomorrow with more content, obviously. Thank you very much. Stay healthy and safe.